And we're back. This is Hook and Ladder. We are officially a quarter through the season already, but it's always crazy to me just how quick the season really goes. This week, we'll run through some of the top 25 games and have a recap and update of the coming week's games. So, let's begin. Alabama, Florida, number 1 against number 11. Alabama with a squeaker, 31-29. We saw this game.
Watched most of it on TV. Looked like Alabama was going to run away with it, 21-3, and then they kind of, I don't want to say they took the foot off the gas because I really don't think they did. Florida started playing really well. Florida was running the football. They ran for well over 200 yards, and they came right back. And we had to go into the stadium as this was winding down, but we actually caught the highlights on Chase's phone like usual.
Yes.
So it was a real good game. I'm not surprised Florida played them so well because they played them really, really well in the SEC championship game. But I expected this score to be, much. I didn't expect it to be this close.
Both teams has lost a lot of talent to the draft and graduations, and it seems the question is Alabama not as good, or is Florida better than we thought they were? Or a combination of both.
Combination of both, but I hate saying Alabama's not as good as we thought they were. Look what happened last year. Ole Miss scored a boatload of points on them, put up a ton of yards, and everyone thinks maybe Alabama's not as good as we thought they were, and then all of a sudden they go win a national championship. So, it's a grind in the SEC week in and week out. Sometimes you have these kind of games. Yes. It's not easy going down to Florida and playing in the swamp. So, I mean, look, they came out with a squeaker, and
they're 3-0.
Yeah, they're 3-0. I'm sure Nick Saban's going to have plenty to say about this to get his team motivated next week, but they got the win. That's all that matters. Survive in advance.
That's right. Georgia goes to 3-0 in the season with a dominant performance against South Carolina. We were there for that one. Great game, great atmosphere.
Yeah.
Georgia.
Night game is a lot of fun in Sanford Stadium.
It is. And I have to say, I think Georgia's the best team in the country right now.
They're up there. I mean, I can't put them past Alabama. You got to beat the champs in order but
fair enough.
They deserve that number 2 ranking. If I'm kind of being truthful here, they have a very, very good defense. The offense is now showing that they can have that quick strike capability.
And they're moving the ball on the ground.
And I think they're not moving the ball on the ground as well as they should be able to, but you kind of don't need to when you can basically pass at will like they've been doing. Their wide receivers now are getting healthy. When you weren't seeing guys like Jermaine Burt and Kyrus Jackson getting in the game much in game 1 against Clemson. Now you see them what they can do when they're healthy. So they're a good football team.
They are. Moving right along, Oklahoma barely gets by Nebraska, 23-16. We didn't see this one, but again, Oklahoma stays live.
Yeah, it's just like I said, survive in advance. I say it every episode. They didn't look good. It's the second time this season. They haven't really looked all that good, but they got it done. And it's a non-conference game. It's an old rivalry renewed. So, I mean, good for them. They got the win against Nebraska. And just like I said, survive in advance. Move on to the next week.
That's it. Oregon over Stony Brook, 48-7. I remember being in the second quarter looking up in the up in the stands and seeing the scoreboard, and it was like 17-7. And we're like, what's going on?
Second half, they really turned it on. And, took control of the game. I don't really think the game was really ever in doubt.
No.
But
I guess after a big win against Ohio State, you're going to have that letdown.
Yeah, letdown first half. I'm sure Cristobal got onto him in the locker room at halftime, and they came out and put 20-plus points on the board in the second half.
And there is a lot of chatter going on around Cristobal going to USC, so that's probably that played a factor in that as well. So carrying on, Iowa remains undefeated. Again, they won 30-7 against Kent State, which that was probably going to be expected. But
yeah.
Oh, there we go.
Big Ten's looking good this year.
They are.
Michigan's playing well. Michigan State's playing well. Penn State's playing well. Iowa's playing well. Ohio State, look, I know they kind of struggled a little bit, just for a little bit yesterday. They're still going to be the team to beat, in my opinion. But that conference is looking real strong. There's going to be a lot of teams with maybe one loss. You're looking at like an 11-1 or a 10-2 type of season.
There might be a little bit of uncertainty into November with who's going to play for the Big Ten title game.
I expect a lot of Big Ten teams to be in that 11-1, 10-2 mark at the end of the season.
Very interesting. Clemson, Georgia Tech. Clemson goes to 2-1, undefeated in the ACC, 14-8. Clemson's got some problems on offense. They're not moving the ball.
I watched this game this morning. You just look at that score: touchdown in the first quarter, touchdown in the fourth quarter. They're not throwing the football very well. They weren't running it that well the week prior. Shipley looked pretty good yesterday. But I tell you what, DJ's missing guys. Those wide receivers are legit. Clemson, they're like 6'3", 6'4", and they're open, and he ain't hitting them. They got to get it figured out. I still think they're the team to beat in that conference. I mean, they're just so talented. Nobody's scored a touchdown on them all season long.
So you just get any kind of offense, they're going to
if they kick a couple field goals, you're going to win because you're not scoring on that defense, and that's what's going to keep them in the hunt this season.
Right.
I just don't know if they've got the offense to win a playoff game.
A&M remains undefeated. They beat New Mexico 34-0 in a dominant performance. Looks like Tennessee kind of shut it down in the second. Texas A&M shut it down in the second half there offensively.
This was the game they needed. Calzada needed this kind of game to kind of get his feet set under him. Came in last week, after the injury, looked a little shaky, but did lead him down the field to the game-winning touchdown. Looked a lot better yesterday. They had this one kid, Demas or something like that. First ever catch was like a 75-yard touchdown catch.
He was two receptions, 100 yards. On the
yeah. I mean, he was wide open. I mean, Calzada looked good throwing the football. And that's what you expected to see Texas A&M do to a team like New Mexico.
Yeah.
Come out, they're the number 7 team in the country, show that you deserve that ranking and just demolish them, and that's what they did.
It was 19 for 33 for 275 and 3 scores. It's not a bad day. Cincinnati knocks off Indiana 38-22. This was in Bloomington, I believe.
Back and forth game. Cincinnati got it done.
Yeah, remains undefeated.
Yeah, I kind of predicted that they were going to win. I've said this before, in the last 3 episodes we did. I think I mentioned this twice in the last 3 episodes that Indiana was basically the de facto kind of number 2 last year. Ohio State had the COVID issues, weren't going to get into the conference championship game. The Big Ten, said, hey, let's revise our rule to let Ohio State in. And but Indiana was going to maybe go in their place against Northwestern, and Indiana ended up going to a New Year's Day bowl game. I believe it was the Outback Bowl. I think it was against Ole Miss, a 4-5 Ole Miss team, and Ole Miss beat them. Kind of said that these guys would probably take a step back this year, and they have.
They have. Ohio State defeats Tulsa to go to 2-1. Ohio State, this is a get-right game after losing to Oregon last week, 41-20. I didn't see this one. I don't think
I watched a half of the